Hello YouTubers and fellow hams. Sitting down here at the bench on this cold winter morning, and I mean it's cold. This is the temperature down here at the bench, 50 degrees down here in the basement. So I am all bundled up. I even got my hood on. It's cold down here. So this is a Zenith Trans Oceanic model 3000-1 or 1-3000. Anyway, this is one of their early all transistor solid state general coverage receivers. This thing is AM, FM broadcast bands plus all the shortwave bands. And the owner got this to me. Said he lost AM. FM still worked fine, but on AM there was almost, well, he couldn't hear anything. I found if I turned the volume all the way up, I could barely hear broadcast stations. So the detector was working, the RF front end was suspect, mixer suspect, local oscillator was working for sure because it was tuning. Actually, mixer would be fine, I think, because it was tuning. You could tune to the frequency of the local station and just hear it real weak. So I had a pretty good idea on this, and it's a quick tip for you. If you run into one of these yourself or another device that uses what I'm going to show you, the transistors that this uses. So let me flip it around, open it up, and reposition you so you can see inside, and I'll show you the quick fix when you have weak or no AM and shortwave on this radio. Alright, I've got the back of the Royal 3000-1 Trans Oceanic radio opened. I took out the battery pack, great big D-size battery pack that normally sits in this space right here. Across here you can see the IF section. Here's IF 1, 2, and 3. They got a nice label down on the back panel that shows you each of the sections and what transistors are where. And this radio uses these early germanium transistors. 121-352 is the part number for these, for the IF section. And over here is the mixer up here. And this one in the middle is the local oscillator. And this one off to the side, which you can barely see, is the RF amp. And these are different. These are 121-44 or 121-350 and a 121-351. And these are 121-352s. Now these are PNP transistors, and one other interesting thing about this radio, if you ever look at the schematic for it, you get really confused really fast. The chassis, the metal chassis, is a positive ground. So the positive of the power supply is on the chassis. And as a result of that, any electrolytic capacitors that you see in the schematic will have the positive side going to what looks like ground. And that can really confuse you. And I don't know why they did that. I guess they used all PNP transistors, so maybe the engineers must have... I can imagine an engineer trying to think through the design of the schematic in this. Anyway, that's not related to the problem. So we had really, really weak signals when we were using AM. Well, I suspected one of these transistors, probably one of these on the IF sections, was not good. Or there's a problem with this particular old transistor design. I'm going to reset things up again here and get ready for a close-up, and I'm going to show you one of these transistors up close. So here's one of the IF transistors. Now, as you'll notice, there are 4 leads on this transistor. 1, 2, 3, and then a space and a 4th one. Now these are collector out here on the side. I think this one's the base and this one's the emitter. But this lead here in the center, this is called shield. And what that shield lead is is it's an electrical connection to the metal case of the transistor. And they did that for RF shielding. But the problem is, and I've read about this, inside of this transistor, mineral growth, corrosion or whatever, leads to that case, little whiskers of mineral growing out and making contact with other parts of the transistor and then interrupting its operation. So if you run across, in a radio that's not working, and you run across these old germanium transistors, one quick fix that you can try is that center pin there. You can bend it up out of the way. You could probably even just clip it off, but I'm just going to bend it up out of the way. Like so. And that will disengage the case from making electrical connection, and then the transistor will start working again. There's substitute transistors you can get to replace these. NTE, oh, I forget the number. NTE 160, I think. And in that case, you're not going to have, I don't think you're going to have the shielded case anyway. So this is a quick fix, and it's likely that this is going to fix the problem. Now, in this radio, these transistors are all socketed, which is really nice, makes it easy. And by bending that pin up, you've still got enough penetration from the other pins to engage the socket just fine and make electrical connection. So I'm going to put this back in the radio, and we're going to fire it up, and we're going to see if we get our bands back. Okay, we've got the transistor back in, and I went to each one of these up here and the IF transistors, and I did the same thing. I bent up that case pin and put them back in their sockets. So we're going to close her up. All right, here we go. Hey, static. Believe me, before when you turned it on AM or any of the shortwave stations, you could turn it all the way up and not hear any static.
Okay. You can beat McCourty if you can get him in man. So there's ways to beat New England, except I don't know anybody who's complete.
The radio lives again.
The last thought here, and because you know the insurance.
You cannot live by your appetites. You must live by the wisdom of...
Where mankind invented the world, but does anyone remember the guy's name who did it? Well, my guy at Tire Barn.
I'm not going to play for Frank.
So, there you go. A quick fix on these old Zeniths. I've seen this 3 or 4 times, just bending up that case pin on those transistors and taking it out of the circuit, and the radio works fine again. Obviously, if you really want to go the extra mile, you can just get that NTE equivalent and replace the transistors. But the transistors are still good. It's just that little case problem. The junctions are still working, obviously, and the radio's receiving fine. So we should be good on all bands now. Let's go down to, let's try a shortwave band. See if it can pick up WWV down here in the basement. Okay, we'll try it 10 megahertz. That's how sensitive this radio is. I don't even have the antenna extended. It has a telescoping antenna on the top. There. The handle has a telescoping whip. See? And I'm down in the basement with the whip hardly extended now, and I'm still picking up WWV. So, yeah. There you go. Your quick tip on these old Zeniths. Hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.